over a public election in the Republic of Ghana. That is not their mandate at all. They have no such power. I am urging them to withdraw that directive. If they don't withdraw this statement by Friday, I may have to go to court.
Also in the bulletin, armed policemen reportedly stormed Metro TV during a broadcast of Good Morning Ghana, injuring some security personnel of the media house. We will be at the scene for the very latest and ascertain what truly happened. Still ahead in the bulletin, NDC caucus in Parliament serves notice to the executive to prevent looming international disgrace as they warn Ghana could lose international headquarters of WAEC to Nigeria over indebtedness. And on the campaign trail, former President Mahama backs NDC caucus and Parliament's decision to stay out of Parliament until the general elections are over.
12 days to election. What's the NJ campaign? Niambra Parliament. NDC and Parliament.
Details of these stories and many more, including sports and what is trending on social media, are coming up in the next 45 minutes. Stay tuned in. Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, My Star Radio in the USA, also live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM. Starr News. Informed, in depth, in touch. You're welcome once again to the Starr Midday News on Starr 103.5 FM here in Accra, coming to you live from our studios at the Platinum Place. My name is Dedei Tettey. Let's start off with issues relating to Ghana's Electoral Commission. Well, the Commission is facing a groundswell of criticism following plans to restrict media access to coalition centers, now forcing the Commission to announce further engagement on the controversial decision. A memo from the EC Deputy Chairman Operations to all regional centers dated 25th November 2024 instructed officials to submit the names of credible media houses in their districts and regions. Additionally, it specified that no more than 8 media houses should be allowed at each coalition center and no more than 12 allowed at regional coalition centers. Let me speak to the head of our political desk, Ibrahim Alassan. Ibrahim, how did we get here?
Well, unprecedented decision coming from the EC. And so yesterday we chanced upon this internal memo. It was not meant for circulation. It was just from the headquarters to regional directors and then district directors of the EC. The request was a simple one. They should scan through the media landscape in their respective jurisdictions and find out credible, underlining word is credible media houses and submit their names to the headquarters. This meant that the media houses were not meant to be contacted. They were not supposed to make any input, no request. Yeah. And so the memo, of course, as you mentioned, emanating from the Deputy Chairman Operations, that's Dr. Bosman Asari, of course, and talked about the fact that ahead of the election day on the 7th of December, this comes to request that you send us the names of credible media houses, that is, radio and television stations in your district and regions. The purpose is to enable us provide them with accreditation, which will allow them entry into the constituency coalition centers and regional coalition centers as follows. So constituency coalition center, 8 media houses, 3 television stations with 2 personnel, of course, meaning camera and a reporter, and then 5 radio stations, and then 1 per person. No mention of newspapers, no mention of online portals. And then you come to, that's for district coalition centers. When you come to regional coalition centers, 5 TV stations, 2 personnel, of course, and then 7 radio stations, 1 personnel. And the instruction is that please submit names of media houses before the close of day today, which was Monday, 25th of November, 2024. And it says, please note that without accreditation, no media personnel can enter our coalition centers. And then ends with a thank you.
Okay.
And so the accreditation was meant to be a special one. We all know about the general accreditation from the EC that we all have.
Yes.
This was supposed to be a special accreditation.
So this was a communication on November 25. I will return to you, Ibrahim, but I also have in studio Nanama Aqua with some reactions on social media ever since news of this development broke out, because we've also have heard the Deputy Commissioner in charge of corporate services, Bossman Asare, Doctor, justifying the decision. What has been the reaction on social media to this particular controversial position taken by the Electoral Commission, Nanama?
Yeah, controversial indeed. Well, we start with Captain Smart, who simply has the memo that has been put there and has a laughing emoji ahead of it. We also have Michael Otioje, who says it's not the Electoral Commission's job to determine who is credible enough to cover elections. The EC enjoys venturing on utterly useless paths. In this country, how do you accredit 3 TV stations per collation center and 5 radio stations? Then we have Umaru Sanda. Dear Jean Mensa and the Electoral Commission, you already have enough problems. Restricting media from covering the election should be the last thing on your table now. Withdraw that directive now. We also have Sir Kweku J. If any form of violence or rioting occurs, the Electoral Commission should be held accountable. It is unacceptable to restrict or limit media access to the collation centre. This is the first time since 1992 that we are witnessing such atrocities. Then we have Nyong Falong, who says, G Mensa, Electoral Commission, the NPP and other power-drunk enablers of this autocratic government, how dare you? The Electoral Commission's decision to restrict media access to specific outlets during the December elections raises significant concerns about transparency and fairness. Not that we ever trusted them to begin with, but this definitely is the death knell. Limiting coverage to a few selected... Let me say that again. Limiting coverage to a select few media houses tells us that you are anti-free press and complicit in trying to promote biased reporting and compromise the integrity of our election process. The Commission must reconsider this directive to uphold the values of transparency and accountability that are fundamental to a healthy democracy. Then we also
Let's
have...
take the last one.
Yeah, sure. Here, Mick says, the media has long failed to hold the EC accountable, leaving the NDC to expose its actions. Today, the EC is undermining media freedom. If you think abuse of power won't affect you, just wait. So people are not happy with what is going on. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Nanama Akwa, with those reactions on social media, especially coming from a lot of media practitioners, because like one of them was saying, this will be the very first time something of this nature is happening. And I did indicate that there's a development in relation to this, but let me bring you some more reactions before I bring you the latest development. Let's hear from the NDC Member of Parliament for South Dai, Roxanne Nelson Dafiamakbo, who says that the actions of the Electoral Commission are not in consonance with the country's constitution. He spoke to me on the Morning Star. Have a listen.
To determine which media houses comes to cover a public election in the Republic of Ghana. That is not their mandate at all. They have no such power. It's like Parliament saying that we'll determine which media house comes to cover proceedings in Parliament. You can do that. It's a public event, and the media under Article 162 has the rights and the freedom to cover any public event. And the media is independent. They are not supposed to be controlled by any state agency. I am urging them to withdraw that directive and allow any media house anywhere process to any of the public events, which in this case is a public election, to cover the election in the manner in consonance with the laid down regulations underpinning journalism in this country.
Now, one of the major reasons that it has adduced for this decision is that they want to limit it to credible media outlets to cover this. Is that not a good enough justification for this decision?
It is no justification. There's a remedy if anybody misinforms, misreports the matter in this country. There's a remedy provided under law. The same constitution that guarantees independence of the Electoral Commission, that is why they think that they can do whatever they like under law. the same constitution that guarantees media freedom and independence of the media. The electoral committee appears to be doing things unlawfully. If they don't withdraw this statement by Friday, I may have to go to court.
Within this period?
Yes, why? I'll go to the High Court to compel them to allow every media house free access to cover the event. It's a public event. Transparency lies at the heart of this election.
Well, political scientist and director of European Studies at the University of Ghana, Dr. Asa Asante, I beg your pardon. He's also been reacting to this, and he says that he's backing calls of those who are asking the Electoral Commission to rescind the decision.
I support the call by Media Foundation for West Africa. Why are you limiting the people? On what basis? What is it that they have seen that we have not, which they want to share light on? They've made a requirement that it should be a credible media house. That one, I have no problem with that. But if you limit them, on what basis are you limited? I mean, what is the criteria? Why are you throwing some people out? That becomes something that, for me, if we are talking about what? An equal playing field. And then also transparency. In this regard, we are talking about transparency, right? Transparency of the process. Because elections are driven by what? Transparent processes. So you don't want to what? Undermine the same effort that you are putting in place to ensure that. And then at the back end, you are also doing something it's counterproductive. All that the UC has done so well. So I'm not sure they want to change their work with this. They should rescind their decision and allow all the press who are qualified to be there. That's it. Once you limit them, you create all manner of problems in the minds of people.
In the instance they do not rescind the decision and maintain that position, does this decision have any implications? Will it have any implications?
My view is that, and I hope and I believe strongly that the EC will rescind its decision. So I'm not going to have a second thought about that. I know EC, when we talk, they listen. And sometimes these things, they know the effect. So they will not want to joke with that. I know they will listen. That one, I know that.
You heard the Director of European Studies and also Political Science Lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Asa Asante, there, ending on the note that he is confident that the Electoral Commission will heed to the calls for it to rescind this controversial decision. Well, there is a latest development coming from the Electoral Commission in relation to this decision. Ibrahim Alassane is still here with me. Ibrahim, what are they saying?
Well, so Madam Jimenez and the charges were listening to you this morning, and they heard Dr. Asa Asante say exactly what we just played back. And so, yes, they have issued a statement, and it's to the effect that they've listened and they've taken on board suggestions from individuals like Dr. Asante. And so they say that since the memo, of course, went public, of course, commission staff at the district and the regional levels, asking them to select media houses for accreditation to its collation centers, became public. The commission has received numerous calls from a number of its media partners expressing concern about the quotas granted to the media houses. Now, it says, as a listening commission, we are engaging with the leadership of the Ghana Journalists Association and then the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, that's GIBA, on the issue, and trust that we will arrive at an arrangement that is both workable and acceptable. It goes further to say that the Commission is keen on ensuring the highest level of transparency in its operations, hence the opening up of all its constituency, regional, and national collation centers to the media. This aspect of the statement means that this is the first time the media is going to be allowed access to these places. That cannot be true. That cannot be true, and that must be made abundantly clear.
And the general practice has been that the media has always had access to these collation centers
every time,
as well as polling stations.
Exactly. And then, so if you talk about the strong room,
that is where restrictions are.
Of course, that's headquarters.
Yes.
But for the district collation centers,
which are usually in the open,
they are in the open, right? Either in a classroom or in a church
or a compound.
Or a compound. And now, because there are projectors that are used, they actually designate places where there's power supply.
Yes.
And like all the by-elections we've covered, all the parliamentary elections, is done in the open for every accredited journalist, media house to be present, right? So that line cannot be accurate. Now, it goes further to talk about the fact that in doing so, the Commission is mindful of the need to ensure an orderly and a peaceful process at all collation centers. Hence, the quotas on a number of persons who can access the collation centers at any given time. The Commission is confident that this engagement with the leadership of the GJ and GEBA will lead to acceptable outcome. And so that engagement is ongoing. But like Dr. Asasati said, we expect nothing different from the EC. If you've issued accreditations to journalists to cover a process, that process must be covered through and through with no restrictions.
Thank you very much. Ibrahim Alassan is the head of our political desk. You're still listening to the Star Midday News on Star 103.5 FM here in Accra. Let's bring you some other stories. We can turn our attention to issues relating to education because the minority in Parliament now, they have some concerns. The NDC caucus in Parliament now, they are serving an SOS to government, urging them to prevent a looming international disgrace to the country following its indebtedness to the West Africa Examination Council, which could potentially cause Ghana to lose its headquarters status. Now, ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Peter Nochukotwe, in a statement says a total of 73 million Ghana cedis is currently owed the council, which is causing serious financial and operational crisis. Here are excerpts of a statement issued by Peter Nochukotwe.
Ghana, the foundation member of WAEC, was selected by other members, including Nigeria, Sierra Leone, the Gambia, and Liberia, to host the international office, while national offices were established in each member country. For 72 years, Ghana has proudly hosted the headquarters of WAEC, but unfortunately, Ghana is beginning to lose this position to Nigeria. It has been reported that Nigeria has put up a magnificent infrastructure in place to host the headquarters should the council decide to move its headquarters from Ghana, because Ghana, in the past 8 years, owed the international organization 73 million cedis in annual subscriptions, dues, and other obligations. This is a shame that Ghana will undergo if the headquarters is moved away from us as a result of government's inability to settle its indebtedness before the end of the year.
You heard the excerpts of a statement issued by the ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Peter Nochukotwe. He joins us over the telephone line. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us here on the Star Midday News.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon.
And this is troubling news coming in, but has there been any explanations at all provided by government as to what is causing the delay in settling this debt owed WAEC?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your listeners and viewers. In actual fact, no one has come up with any explanation yet. I'm expecting government or the Ministry of Education to talk about it. Indebtedness to WAEC is becoming too perennial. If you read the statement very well, you will realize that WAEC local is being owed over 155 million Ghana cedis. So things are really difficult for WAEC. If we owe the national, why do we owe the international organization too? So Ghana is losing popularity. Ghana is losing leadership as far as WAEC is concerned. So if we are not careful, the headquarters of WAEC will be taken away from us. That one, no two ways about it, and to be a shame to this country.
And so what do you expect government to do in the immediate term? Because as you have made us understand, Nigeria is on standby to take up that position.
Yeah, so the best and the most important thing to do now is to pay up the indebtedness of 73 million Ghana to WAEC International, and that will solve the problem.
Now, how
provide all of that infrastructure that will be needed to fully host the international office.
And for 72 years, we have been the headquarters. What would it mean if this happens, that status is taken away from us?
Oh, it will mean a lot. That in the first place, we have lost the opportunity as the headquarters of WAEC, being a pioneering member or a founding member. Why should we stand by or sit aloof just because of 73 million cedis? This should be taken away from us. It is a national disgrace. So it means a lot. In the first place, it's a disgrace. And right now, we will have rather to be traveling to Nigeria or any other place that they will put the headquarters for us to transact business. And I think by employment-wise too, it's going to affect us.
Okay.
We may lose the opportunity to get more people employed as far as the international office is concerned. Yeah.
But someone would say that what's the big deal? What would be the big deal if WAEC decides that they are relocating to Nigeria? What is the big deal? As long as we still get to write our exams, why should we be worrying our head over a possible plan to move to Nigeria because of debt audit?
So it's an hosting an international organization is a pride. So that pride is what we must protect. And in the future, reference will be made that you Ghanaians, were not able to pay the subscription or the dues. That's why the office was moved from Ghana to Nigeria. Does it speak well of us as a country? No. So it's going to be a public disgrace, and we don't want to be part of that shame.
Okay.
That's why government must pay up the indebtedness and then set us free.
So beyond the statement and the open admonishment to government to settle the debt owed WAEC, is there anything else as a ranking member or as a committee of parliament that is being done to further pressurize government to settle the debt owed WAEC?
We have spoken several times. It is only when we speak that they run and release some pittance to them to manage affairs. So we will continue to talk and ask government to do the needful for WAEC to maintain its standard and meet its obligations to the state.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We're grateful for your time.
It's a pleasure.
You had us speak to the ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Peter Notru-Kotoi. Let's now take you to developments that occurred this morning, as we understand it, at another media house, Metro TV to be specific. Now, armed police men were said to have reportedly stormed Metro TV during the live broadcast of the media house's flagship program, Good Morning Ghana. Well, Star News gathers that some security personnel of the media house were injured during the altercation. Host of Good Morning Ghana, Randy Abbey, spoke about the incident during the show. Have a listen to what he had to say while he was on air.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. And you realize that we had an abrupt break. We actually took a break, and maybe you can still hear some noise out there. And it has to do with some armed men, armed policemen, and some other persons who were trying to forcibly enter the studio here. We do not know what it is for, but they were trying to forcibly enter the studio, and our private security has been trying to prevent them. A couple of them are injured. They actually been thrown here into the studio, the studio, and that's why we took the break.
So that is Randy Abbey providing more like a situational report as to what was happening at that time of the morning. You could hear some noises in the background. There's suggesting some form of resistance or altercation. Let's go over the telephone line and speak to our reporter, Mary Apia. She's at the premises of Metro TV. Let's find out what exactly happened there. Mary, so what have you been able to gather with regard to what caused this particular incident?
Dedei, unfortunately, when I got here, the security men refused us to enter. Also, they refused to talk to us. And then when I got here, there were a lot of police cars parked outside with a lot of policemen around. But then they refused to speak to us. They said it is a personal issue and they are trying to resolve it, and they do not want the media to escalate it.
And so at the moment, is the police presence still there? Do you see the cars being packed around?
Police, their premises are heavily guarded as I'm speaking to you now. A lot of policemen. I think some of them were inside trying to resolve the issue, whilst others were outside guarding the place.
Do you see, beyond the police, you see other ordinary Ghanaians there watching?
No, the place has returned to calm. The place is very calm. When we got here, there were no people around with the exception of the policemen.
All right, thank you, Mary, for that update there. Ibrahim Alassan has joined me in studio with some update in relation to this particular incident. Ibrahim, what have we been able to gather?
Well, so indeed, there were armed policemen at the premises of Metro TV this morning, but they were not there to arrest anybody. There's been a judgment against the media house in a case it has with Tettey, formerly Vodafone.
Okay.
1.4 million Ghana cedis debt. So the bailiffs were there just to serve the judgment on the media house.
And it required that many officers?
Yes. So basically, that's the clarity we've gotten now.
Okay,
so you can understand why management of the company will now say that they've resolved the differences.
Okay. But definitely, thank you very much for that useful update coming from Ibrahim Alassan in relation to the skirmishes that occurred at the premises of Metro TV earlier today. Let's now switch our attention from skirmishes to sports, and Jones to the A to the D to the Z to the I is here. Jones, what's in sports?
Right, so we start off from the amputee national team, because Ghana's national amputee football team, the Black Challenge, have scheduled a walk to display their displeasure and draw the attention of the government to their plight after being owed bonuses due them by the Ministry of Youth and Sports after winning gold in the African Paralympic Games held last year and winning the Amputee AFCON 6 months ago. So the walk is to the Flagstaff House and is scheduled for the 3rd of December. Let's move on to the Champions League. Robert Lewandowski has become the 3rd player in history after Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi to score 100 Champions League goals as Barcelona defeated Stade Brest in a dominant performance yesterday. Lewandowski scored twice, including a penalty for his milestone goal. The Polish striker says he never dreamed he did score 100 goals.
For me, since years, it's like to be close with these big two names in the football history is like, and try to do my best. Of course, it's difficult to catch them, but, to be very close. So sometimes even over them is like, you have to dream always. And I didn't believe that I can be scoring like more than 100 goals in Champions League. And today I'm here, so I can be proud for myself and also for the team, because I'm very happy that how we're playing and also how many goals we're scoring with so many young players in the team. So, sometimes I feel like teenager in this club, so it makes me even more stronger sometimes.
All right, so before I go, the GFA will be meeting Otoado today for his reports, and we'll get to see what will happen after that meeting.
Thank you very much, Jones, with the very latest in the world of sports. You're still listening to the Star Midday News on Star 103.5 FM. Shortly, we'll bring you the campaign show, but before we do that, the Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, is urging government and the private sector to develop innovative local financing solutions to address climate change and vulnerability issues. ACEP emphasizes that reliance on donor partners hinders effective action against this menace, which threatens the environment and human life. GH1 and Starr News' Calvin Powell has more in the following report.
The recent 2024 United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP29 in Baku, Azerbaijan, aimed to meet the demands of the Sustainable Development Goal 13 and the 2030 Agenda. Climate change devastation such as severe flooding, unbearable heat and cold, and drought have irreversible impacts on food security and more. ACEP is pushing for local financial commitment to drive appropriate actions.
No, I think it's a major problem, where policies are designed and not much engagement actually go into it, or consultation of body of evidence. So that's what we're trying to do this. So we have a lot of research evidence that can come out of this. Those could inform policy, could inform government direction. Going forward. It's bizarre to see policies generated that do not go through some rigor or certification by academics who have been working around these subjects.
ACEP also advocates for creating economic opportunities to facilitate private sector participation through carbon trading.
When you go to various climate-related events, one of the things we talk about is the desire for multilateral organizations to provide us with funds to support our climate action. But there are other key innovative climate finance techniques that we are missing, especially regarding how we can integrate private capital into the climate solutions. It's about developing these solutions.
The conference, themed Building a Sustainable and Equitable Future, Green Solutions for Climate Resilience in Ghana brought together academia, CSOs, researchers, and others to influence policy directions through tailored solutions.
You heard the Calvin Powell with GH1 and Starr News bringing you the details of that admonishment coming in from ASAP. That will be it for the Starr Midday News. Time now to in the Ashanti region is 3,200,000 and beyond. In the Eastern region is 1,800,000 and beyond. In the Central region is 1,700,000 and beyond. In the Western region, 1,200,000 and beyond. In the Northern region, 1,100,000 and beyond. In the Volta region, 1,017,000 and beyond. In the Upper West region, I beg your pardon, the Upper East region, we are in the 700,000s. In the Bono region, also in the 700,000s. Bono East in the 600,000s. In the Western North, 500,000. In the Upper West is 500,000 as well. Oti is in the 400,000s. Ahafo is in the 300,000 range. Savannah is also in the 300,000 range. And so is the Northeast, also in the 300,000 range. All these individuals are expected to be casting their ballots come December 7th. And it's only 10 days away. Remember that the special voting is coming off on Monday. As a special voting session for those who will be on duty. People like the media practitioners who now are being told that access will be restricted to them when it comes to the various coalition centers. What would it be? So in 10 days, Ghanaians will make that They will institute the flat tax rate policy. And he believes that this will help reduce importation costs. He made this known while he was addressing spare parts dealers as part of his tour of the Greater Accra region.
Major issues with import duty. And yes, sir, with the new import duty regime, and then flat rate import duty regime. Flat rate in the ASEAN saying, with the spare parts, Bagana, a 40-foot container, yenim flat rate, was a 20,000 cities, a 20,000 cities, a bedua, ubetria, 20,000 cities flat, like in no. It's simple and straightforward. Yenina, a betias here. Trouble, a different item, and also one flat rate. Every item one flat rate, and one and a bobua. Before baby, the person also say, yeah, the flat rate system no, but for companies. Meaning say companies baby, omono GRA, omo mansukrim baby. The other share see a flat rate, no, me the tax amnesty, bema all businesses and individuals in Ghana. Everybody will start with a zero rate. Yeah, the tax amnesty, ma obia.
You heard there the Vice President and flag bearer of the governing New Patriotic Party talking about the flat rates tax policy. He is bringing the flat rate tax policy to ensure that the economy grows and grows and grows. We'll be touching base with our reporter who is with the team to find out what has been happening as it continues to store the Greater Accra region. While we wait to do that, we will remain with the camp of the NPP because Deputy Minister of Health and Member of Parliament for Akimoda, Dr. Alexander Kwesiakwa, says that the governing NPP deserves another tenure because of the free dialysis program. He made the comment during a ceremony to outline procedures for the free dialysis policy.
We have come to a conclusion that NHIS is capable of doing that. And so it's been announced that on the 1st of December, we are rolling out this initiative to take care of all dialysis, all patients on dialysis. We have had dialysis patients who do not have money to take care of themselves and have ended up their lives untimely. And so if a government decides to pick up the cost of dialysis throughout Ghana for every renal patient, the government must be commended and must be applauded. And it's the reason we are asking people to continue supporting us and to vote us back into office for such other initiatives, because what we want to do is to ensure that the average Ghanaian's life, the average Ghanaian's health is taken care of as far as the NPP government is concerned.
You had the Deputy Health Minister and Member of Parliament for Akimoda, Dr. Alexander Dramani Mahama. He has vowed that MPs of the National Democratic Congress will not honor a parliamentary recall to undertake government business. This follows a recent legal battle over the declaration of four parliamentary seats vacant. He emphasized the NDC will not stop active campaigning to join the NPP caucus, where recall of the lawmaking chamber with barely 10 days to to the 2024 elections, the NDC's flag bearer made these remarks during a campaign rally in the Elembele constituency on the second day of his tour of the Western region.
Now, say almost say, what do you mean to abandon? Who parliamentary resource now? Who say ampa NDC na majority? Na omachro say yembra parliament embetra say enhwehwe nyoma 12 days to election. We see enjoy campaign yembra parliament. Omo de omo pa omo ko NDC yenko parliament bia. Yetu abani wiye na omu hu omu smoothness level a ehon ye be parliament unenye na yakọ.
You had there the flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama. We'll bring you more in relation to the campaign of the NDC flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, who is still in the Western region. Now, beyond the parliamentary recall, he's also been talking about roads. The former president lashed out at the Akufo-Addo-led government for neglecting roads in the Impoho district, questioning its claim of constructing 12,000 kilometers of roads across the country. Now, this follows concerns by the Queen Mother of the area over developmental deficits and the destruction of farmland and water bodies by illegal mining operations.
I'm saying, and ya way Nedikaya Maba Umpoho, Abraham Yamampeni, me Bampoho Baye and Pre 9 na 2020 so Mesabai. Na and that ye ba me bay, a quino, a quining ya crack. Na Fitimrea MPP are buying better now. So, Afibia Omoka said, the year of roads. Somewhat is Omoka. Every year, almost the year of roads. Nanya me person maybe say, Umpoho roads no, and can year of roads no one. Ezu, Nanya me person maybe some and so say, more MP waha. No crasa more MP waha. And I'm quite to say.
You had there the flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama. Let's quickly touch base with our reporter who is with the team at the moment, Abdul Hanan Adam. Hanan, what is happening as we speak and where exactly is the NDC flag bearer?
Well, now the NDC flag bearer has finished the first phase of his campaign for today. And currently we are heading towards Christia Huni Valley, where he's expected to address a community there. And here, the major concern for people is illegal mining, the destruction that it is causing to the environment, especially to cocoa farmers. Here, there are a lot of cocoa farms, but unfortunately, the destruction of the environment has caused significant losses to cocoa farmers in this area. Again, another issue has to do with bad roads in this particular area, the Christian Valley stretch to Afakugwa and other adjoining communities that have to do with Ahwin and Enchi. So the NDC flag bearer is promising that once this is a cocoa growing area, you'll bring back the cocoa roads project to ensure that these people have good roads. He promises that you have health facilities. He's also promising to deliver quality education in the area. But one major thing that has to do with this area is the illegal mining activities. And we've seen it ourselves. We've gone through the mountains, the valleys, and we've seen how the illegal mining has affected the community there. And even potable water or potable drinking water is not available in this area. And people have to rely or pay extra money to buy water as far as Takwa, Takwadi, and other adjoining areas. So these are some of the issues he's been addressing.
So from the Western region, where would he be headed?
So now we are expected to end the 3-day campaign tour of the Western region in Amenfi Central. Then we'll head back to Greater Accra and finish and do a mop-up of Greater Accra before we head to the Ashanti region on Friday to kickstart the 5-day campaign tour of the area as well.
All right, thank you very much. Abdul Hanan Adam monitoring the campaign of the NDC flag bearer John Dramani Mahama, effectively wrapping up campaign trail today. We will be back tomorrow with another edition. My name is Dedei. Thank you very much for your company. Have a good afternoon.